Well, hi, thanks for watching this part of my series on preparing for the ACT science test. This particular video focuses on what we call the conflicting viewpoint type of passage. This most people consider the hardest passage. There fortunately is only one out of the 7 passages that is this type, and you can usually recognize it easily. My recommendation might be to skip this passage if you find this is the hardest one for you and do it at the end. Try to at least give yourself 5 minutes though to tackle this one at the end so you can get some of the points. This one I'm going to show you here isn't the hardest one I've ever seen, so maybe that'll help you build some confidence. But the key is for you to practice these things because there are little tricks that you can figure out for yourself that'll make yourself maybe a little more confident with these. So we know these because they are labeled with a researcher 1 and researcher 2, or sometimes it's student 1, student 2, and there are always 7 questions associated with these. So it's pretty easy to recognize. The other 2 types of passages have only 5 or 6 questions for them. Now this is the only particular passage that I'm going to recommend that you skim through first. Most of the material is actually in the passage, not in figures and tables. So that means you're going to have to figure out just what we're dealing with here because you're going to be asked questions about comparing and contrasting different viewpoints for the scientists. So I'm going to recommend just kind of a quick skim through, and what I tend to focus on when I read it is what is the same about their viewpoints and what is different about the viewpoints. And that's along with getting used to just, okay, what are we even talking about in this? So I'm going to try to give myself about 5 minutes to do this one, and we'll see how we do. And of course, I'm going to be talking out loud as I do it, so that'll slow me down a little bit, but hopefully I can get close to that 5-minute target. All right, so let's start here. This is practice test 1. If you have that packet, passage 5. And if you need that packet, see me or see your teacher if you're at Fairmont. If not, I'm not sure, but you can just maybe watch me work here. All right, so I started out, we're talking about asthma. Notice I'm underlining key points. I know a little bit about asthma, rates doubling over 20 years, no cure, factors that cause individuals to develop. Okay, so researcher 1, the allergen, and I don't need to pronounce that. It's called dust mites, and the studies have shown that exposure to child's house primary determinant of sensitization, evidence of other indoor allergens. So I'm talking about allergens here, and I make a little note to myself. Children are being exposed to more allergens now than ever before. Houses are better insulated, more furnishings, carpets. I understand about allergens inside, dust mites. And there's something called serum IgE. I don't know what that is. I don't really care. Higher IgE than patients with no allergy. Recent work suggested that rhinovirus occur predominantly in patients with total IgE greater than 200. Okay, so allergens are causing asthma. Researcher 2, air pollution. Air pollution. So write the word pollution on here. And we're going to talk about the 1996 Summer Olympics. Traffic, that's ozone and carbon monoxide, nitrogen dioxide, and yada, yada, yada. So as opposed to, we're not talking about allergies, we're talking about pollution here. And then I'm going to skip to this paragraph. Living in communities, high ozone levels. So I might type write ozone here. Okay, so let's start the questions. If ozone levels decrease nationwide, researcher 2 would expect to see what? So it seems to me he's saying that lowered ozone declines drop in hospitalizations for asthma. So less ozone would be better for asthma. So this would be a decrease in the prevalence of asthma, and I don't see any reason for an increase, so I would go with B there. Which of the following statements would researcher 1 agree with? Asthma rates are lower in rural areas. Well, he was talking about allergens, not about the air pollution. So rural shouldn't matter. Men are more likely to have asthma than women. I didn't see anything about that in allergens. People who have pets more likely to have asthma. Asthma relates to quality of air. No, pollution is air quality. So is there something about pets in here? I did see something about pets. There was carpet and furnishings and time indoors. So, oh, cats, there it is. So yes, pets were bad. So that's H. Researcher 1 most likely to agree with which of the following statements about IgE. I remember that at the end, this number, IgE. People with IgE levels of 400 have a higher chance of asthma. I'm going to look at this again. The interaction between rhinovirus and allergy, predominantly among patients with something greater than 200. Different properties of allergens. Okay, so that, yeah, 400 would be severe asthma. 200 have a chance of severe asthma. No, not 100. So not that. Low levels, less than 200. No, not that. No connection between IgE levels and prevalence. No, that's not true. So it was that magic number was 200. Prevalence of asthma continues to increase. Researcher 1 would likely cite which of the following as a solution. So we got to get rid of allergens, things like inside the house. So less time outside. Well, definitely not that. Houses need to be better insulated. No, not that. He wanted less insulation. People need to be given supplements to increase their... No, we don't want to increase that. So fans need to be added to allow more circulation. Yes, it was all about the poor indoor air quality. 1 and 2 would both agree with what? Well, they had different focuses, but let's see what's common. Asthma rates are likely to decline. No, I don't think they'd say that. Air pollution and high IgE are 2 leading causes. Well, I would say 1 would agree with each of those, but they wouldn't have that in common. Women are more likely to develop... No, there's nothing about sex in there. Measures can be taken to lower a person's risk. Yes, they would disagree over what the measures are, but they both agree there's a measure. If researchers 2 is correct, again, that's air pollution, which of the following graphs would represent the relationship between CO and cases of asthma? Now, CO is one of those bad pollution chemicals, so more of that should make more asthma. So concentration versus cases of asthma should be what we call a linear relationship. It should go up as we get more concentration. So I don't know why they did the axis this way, but certainly seems to be G. Researcher 2 would most likely agree with which of the following statements regarding the prevalence of asthma 20 years ago. He's the pollution guy, so he's going to say less pollution 20 years ago was good. There was a higher prevalence of asthma 20 years ago because there was less pollution, not that. There's lower prevalence of asthma 20 years ago because there were higher ozone levels? No, there were less ozone. That's not that. Lower prevalence of asthma 20 years ago because there was less pollution and lower ozone. Yeah, I like that. Lower prevalence of asthma because people spent more time outside. No, he wouldn't have agreed with that. He was thinking it was about being outside. So C. So let me see how I did here. Did I hit my mark? It was about a little over 5 minutes. So I'm going to grade myself here. I've got my answer key in front of me. You can't see it, but that one was B. This one was H, A, and then J is right, and then D is good. Oh, I did pretty well. G is good, and C. So I actually get 100% on that one, which maybe makes you think my argument about this being the hardest one was kind of bogus. But there are some other ones as you practice that you'll find these are a little bit more challenging, especially if there's 3 different viewpoints that you have to compare and contrast. So it's all about practice. You can get better at this if you keep practicing. Go to the ACT website if you need more practice. Find your teacher, but whatever practice you can do is going to be better for you getting quicker at this. All right, hope that was helpful. Thanks for watching.